Hi there, I'm Vincent Bos and I provide dating and self-improvement advice. And in today's podcast, we're going to be discussing they aren't texting, but they are thinking about you. I provide audio coaching for breakup recovery, trying to get an ex back, attracting someone new, and life coaching. Visit www.dateme.tips for more details. Please check your spam and junk folders if you are expecting an email from me. Subscribe to my weekly support emails. The link is in the description. So now let's get back into today's podcast. And today we are discussing they aren't texting, but they are thinking about you. So if you have been dumped and want to try to get your ex back, you will assume that they aren't thinking about you because they haven't sent you a text. But what if you actually were on their mind? In today's podcast, I'm discussing 3 instances where we know they're thinking about you, even if they don't text. So let's get straight into this, and point number 1 is important dates on the calendar. So first of all, we're going to be speaking about important dates on the calendar, and what exactly does this mean? Well, it means different things to different people, but there are some generalized dates for we are fairly certain will be the same for every situation, and that would be birthdays. Your birthday and your ex's birthday. If you've been together in a romantic relationship, when your birthday comes around, they'll know about it. It will be in their mind. This isn't something that they can just forget about, because you will always be part of their life story, and they will always be part of yours. So when your birthday hits, they will be thinking about you. Now, it doesn't mean they're going to send you a text, doesn't mean they're going to send you a birthday card, but it does mean that they will think about you. Now, on top of this natural consideration that it is your birthday and they know the date on the calendar, they will probably think back to previous birthdays that you had. This could be situations where you were spending time together. Presumably, they would have got you a gift on previous birthdays. Okay, this would be something that they will think back upon, and hopefully positive memories will flood their mind. On top of this, they will likely think of you on their own birthday, because on their own previous birthdays, you would have likely got them a gift. You would have likely shared happy memories with them. So when it's their birthday, they're going to be naturally thinking back to what they did last birthday, and presumably you would be there. And this is how you will come into their mindset. But it doesn't have to be a text exchange for you to be in their mind. Now, birthdays are probably the most common and obvious dates on the calendar where this type of thought exchange will take place. But there are also other dates as well. New Year's Eve is a classic. Christmas Day is often a classic as well. And also all of the special days on the calendar that you and they shared, which were just for you. Maybe this is something which nobody else would even know of, but you know that they will know when a date comes around once a year. This means something to you. It will also mean something to them. They will think about you. And this type of trigger will last forevermore. Now, don't get me wrong. As the years and years tick by, it will hold a little less power. If we're talking 10 years down the line, and there's been 10 times that this date on the calendar has come and gone, yes, they will likely still think about you in some respect, but no, it's not going to hold as much power. And depending on what, of course, has happened in the interim, they will, unfortunately, think of you less. That is somewhat obvious. But certainly, the first year, the second year, the third year is going to be something which we are very likely to be thinking about you in hopefully a positive way. And even if they don't reach out to you, which I'll be honest, they probably won't, this could be something which sets the wheel in motion for them reaching out to you maybe a few months down the line. It often needs a trigger of them considering you in their thoughts for them to start to wonder about you, think about you, and hopefully get to a stage of missing you, slowly but surely regrowing romantic emotional attraction, of where if it hits the necessary high point, this is where they will reach out. As I've said, this could be months down the line. So for instance, if your birthday is in February, you might not receive a happy birthday text, but you might hear from them in May or June without you realising that this build-up of romantic emotional attraction started to come from them thinking about you on your birthday, wondering what you were doing, and getting to a stage where they started thinking about you on a weekly basis for different reasons, getting to the moment where that attraction hits the high point and they reach out to you in May or June or whatever it may be. So if you worry that your ex-dumper hasn't contacted you on an important date, please don't worry, because what we can safely assume is they are thinking about you, and this could actually be setting the wheels in motion for them reaching out to you one day in the future. So now let's get into point number 2 and the second point of today's podcast. Please like this video if you're watching on YouTube, and if you have the new hype feature, please hype this video as well. If you like my content, subscribe to the channel to keep updated. And point number 2 is when you surpass the no contact threshold. So before I explain what the no contact threshold is, I probably need to go into what is the no contact rule. So if you haven't heard of this before, the no contact rule is something that lots of people suggest you implement if you have been dumped and want to try to get your ex back. However, there are many different versions of the no contact rule that you can find online, and I believe that my version will give you the best possible chance of success. So I suggest that you subscribe to my YouTube channel, ring the bell for notifications, and check out the playlist entitled The No Contact Rule. This is where you can fully immerse yourself in my version of the rule and understand why I believe it will give you that best possible chance of success. So now we understand what the no contact rule is. What does it mean for when you surpass the no contact threshold? Now this is something different for every individual person. We can't say specifically what your threshold would be or what your ex's would be, because everybody's is different. But there is a no contact threshold, as I like to describe it, where somebody who has a former partner using the no contact rule against them, they will not believe they can surpass a certain point. So to explain this a little easier, you are the dumpee, they are the dumper, they decided to end the relationship, you have decided to implement my version of a no contact rule. Now, whether or not they recognise you're using no contact, because in this day and age, some dumpers will realise that's what you're doing. The no contact rule is becoming a little bit more well known. So even if they know and assume this is what you're trying to do, there will be a threshold of time that they do not imagine you can go beyond without contacting them. So let me just say that one more time. Your ex-dumper may or may not realise that you are deliberately implementing a no contact rule, irrespective of if they know this or not. Not that you should ever admit to this, okay? But just in their own mind, they might be thinking, well, I've heard of this thing called the no contact rule. My dumpee hasn't contacted me in 3 weeks. Maybe they are actually trying to implement it on me. Okay, that's fine. I know about this, I've heard about this. It doesn't matter if they figured this out or not. They will have in their mind a threshold of time they do not believe you can go beyond. Now, if you surpass the no contact threshold, this is when you will go into their thoughts in an overdrive type way. They'll be thinking of you a lot more frequently and with a lot more desire if and when you surpass the threshold. As I've said a moment ago, the threshold is different for every single person. If you were the dumper in a relationship, your threshold would be different to what your ex's is. It would be different to what mine is. It would be different to what the person down the streets is. You get the point. We all have a different threshold, and it isn't something we can think and just say, yes, my threshold is 2 months. We don't know. It's a subconscious thought. But every dumper will have one. And if the dumpee can surpass this, this is when you're really going to be going into your ex-dumper's mind. And that romantic emotional attraction is going to start going up and up and up. And the reason for this is because once you surpass the no contact threshold of your dumper, they believe in a subconscious sense that you are rejecting them. Now, I appreciate that might sound kind of crazy. It doesn't seem to make a lot of sense. They've ended the relationship, hence they don't want to be with you. So why would it bother them if you don't contact them? I appreciate it doesn't make a whole lot of sense, but it is subconscious. It's human mentality. So if you are a dumpee and you go beyond the no contact threshold of what your ex-dumper expects, this is when they will feel subconsciously that you have rejected them. You see, it might sound kind of crazy, but it is so powerful. Now, although I can't say for certain what your ex-dumper's no contact threshold would be, what I can tell you is the average. And the average amount of time that I see of when your ex-dumper is most likely to get to the point of wanting to reach out to you is between 6 and 12 months. And there are other things that combine with this. You may have heard me say in other podcasts, things such as the single honeymoon period that your ex-dumper will be going through. That's a separate situation. We're not going to go into that today, but that is being combined, hopefully, with you implementing my version of a no contact rule. If you do that, these are the things which can really add up. And as I've said, this is when your ex-dumper is likely to feel that you've surpassed their no contact rule threshold that they set for you in their own subconscious. And if you can do that, well, this is when they're going to start missing you. Now, of course, I can't guarantee that your ex will contact you again. There is no 100% guaranteed way to get an ex back. Nothing works 100% of the time, and nothing fails 100% of the time. But what we can say is that there are patterns, and there are things which are more likely to help and less likely to help. And implementing my version of a no contact rule and living your life in a way which is as attractive as possible is going to increase that chance of success. So can I guarantee your ex will reach out? No. But what I can say is that if you surpass their threshold of no contact they have for you in their mind, well, you could be in a position where they one day want to reconnect. Now, if you would like advice and support about how to try and increase the chance of one day getting your ex back, then you may want to consider my audio coaching service, where me and you can speak one-on-one about your unique specific situation. Go to my website www.dateme.tips for more information about how I can become your coach and your teammate via my audio coaching service. Talking about your feelings can also improve your mental health. It helps prevent the buildup of negative emotions, which can lead to stress, anxiety, depression, and even physical health issues. Speak your heart to free your mind. So now let's get into point number 3 and the final point of today's podcast. If you feel that this podcast has helped you, then please consider buying me a coffee. The link to do so is in the description. And point number 3 is when they feel your progress. So when I say they feel your progress, I'm talking about them understanding that you are becoming a version 2.0 of yourself. When they dumped you, you were version 1, and they are not going to want to get back with you unless you grow as a person. So I suggest that you improve yourself every single day, becoming a better person today than you were yesterday, and a better person tomorrow than you are currently today. But I'm not suggesting that you then text your ex and say, hey, I've improved, I'm better, you can come back. Of course, I'm not suggesting that. But what I am saying is that if you live your life in the right way, they will likely feel your progress. And what that means is they might see it, and seeing it could mean, for instance, they see things on social media which showcases your improvement. Again, you're not telling them directly, but you're just posting things for anybody to see, and they might see it. Even if they're not connected, they might have someone pass that information on. You shouldn't be doing it. They will likely find out. Similarly, if you have friends of friends, mutual friends, these people might pass on this information just by saying, hey, did you know that your dumpee has done this and this? Do you know that they've changed in that way and that way? Again, you don't need to be telling these friends to tell your ex. They just naturally will. All you've got to do is live your life the right way, and the information will get back to your ex, and they will feel that progress. You might actually be in a situation where you see your dumper. Maybe you work together, maybe you have children together and you have to see each other once a week, or perhaps you actually walk by one another or bump into each other without even planning to. This is where your ex-dumper might just notice your progress. You're not telling them, you're just living your life, and they will notice. Ultimately, if they feel your progress, whether they see it, hear about it, just notice it, this is when they're going to be thinking about you. If you are a better person than they dumped, you can't help but live in their mind. You'll be living in their mind rent-free, okay? They will be thinking about you more than you could ever imagine. And this is where, slowly but surely, romantic emotional attraction can grow in their mind. And again, if it hits that high point, this is when they might decide to reach out to you. Of course, if and when they do reach out to you, this isn't you just instantly getting your ex back. This is when you move from the no contact phase into the communication stage, and that is an additional step. But the fact is, we have to get there. We have to get to that point before we can even consider reconnecting. So first of all, we need our ex to reach out for an unnecessary reason, because they've grown enough attraction in their mindset to want to. And the ways we've discussed in today's podcast is exactly how you can do it, even if they haven't texted you previously. Okay, that's the key here. They don't have to text you on and on and on for them to be thinking about you and then get into the stage of wanting to reconnect. This can all be happening silently in the background, and when they think of you enough, it could be months and months down the line, this is when they'll likely reach out. Now, if you live in the USA and want to support my channel, please consider shopping at Calvin Klein using the affiliate link in the description. Calvin Klein is a fantastic brand to help both men and women look great and feel confident. As a Calvin Klein affiliate, I may earn a commission if you make a purchase at no extra cost to you. Thank you for your support.